good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is for you. We're more on a roll with Bernard Moore the third, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Nothing but more is what we're all about. We're here live at the JD Board Coliseum on the campus of Hines Community College in Utica, Mississippi, sitting down and attending a basketball camp, getting some good information from these young men and these young lads about the game of basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way you move up and down the court. I know that's some of the songs that Curtis Blow used to sing back in the day. Now, some people may look at that and it's like, man, what is this dude talking about? It was a song by Curtis Blow talking about basketball, which is basketball is a unified sport that everyone enjoys playing, but we definitely got to have some fun with it. So the Olympics is going on right now, and I consider basketball as a team sport. Everybody loves to play it, but wants to play it. So if you want to have fun, join the game of basketball. Now everybody always wants to try to slam dunk on everybody. You know that's the number one thing. Everybody want to slam dunk on somebody, but I know my pastor. He's an older. I wouldn't say he's an older guy, but I remember him playing against him, and he always tell us that once they start counting slam dunks as three, then I start doing it. But they don't. So hey, everybody wants to try to break somebody's ankles and slam dunk on people, but it's all out of love and fun. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. Talk about some different events. I have a young man that's going to join me in a few minutes to talk about some stuff. Like I said, I know he's a former athlete himself, so but I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself. We run into each other a lot. We were kind of introduced by a mutual friend, but now we're running to each other a lot, doing things in the community, and that's what is definitely about is trying to do things in the community. So joining me today here on More on the Road is my good friend, Mr. Benny Foster. I know we've run into each other a lot. We were introduced by a good friend, NFL great Jimmy Smith. Both of them attended Callaway. That school over there on 601 somewhere, as well as he's a student athlete at Jack State as well. But Jimmy introduced me to him, and now then he moved back to the Jackson area, and we've encountered each other doing a lot of stuff in the community. So again, joining me today is my good friend, Mr. Benny Foster. How you doing today, Mr. Foster?
Hey, salute, man. Bless respect. You know that. You know that full address, guy.
That school on Beasley Road somewhere. I know it's
Yeah.
somewhere over there.
That
But no,
school
it's
changed my life, man.
it changed everybody's lives. You know, for the good, the bad, and you know when people hear about schools in Jackson, some people automatically go to the negativity part of Jackson, especially what's going on with the school system now. There's some closure of some schools. The enrollment is low, so people looking at Jackson as like a bad place to be in right now. But growing up with yourself, I know that you're a few years older than I am. You came through the same ranks. I know you walked the halls over there, 601 Beasley Road. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it, as well as myself. I walked the halls of 2607 Raymond Road over Forest Hill down in South Jackson. Benny, first I want to say welcome back home. I know that you went to different parts of the country to learn and to help network to bring some of those different ideas and what you've done in those different areas back home to Jackson, which made you the young man who you are today. So tell us about some
Yeah.
of the things that you have done, learned, and now that you're bringing back to Jackson.
So one of the things that Lisa and I have learned on this journey, and we realized that the journey is so much more important than the destination.
Uh huh.
We've learned one of the key things that this world needs right now is love through something we call mentorship. When we mention those high schools, in retrospect, I was a basketball and track athlete, student athlete. We weren't using these words so much back then. We weren't using mentorship. We weren't using student athlete. You just on the team. You on the basketball team. You on the track team. You on the football team. And as an athlete, you are always a leader, and there wasn't a lot of attention put on that as well. But you
Yeah.
were expected to do better, be better, carry yourself better than the average student. Not taking anything away from people that wasn't in any type of auxiliary or club, but your coaches expected you to be a role model. And so that structure, along with that mentorship, and me being able to travel, as you said, we call it the three E's: your environment, your experience, and your exposure. If you change those three things, you will change your life.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I speak on, it's not because I'm so smart, it's because I've experienced a lot. And experience, this thing called life, is the biggest teacher. And so some of the things that I learned was, first of all, to always love people, to always
Yes.
respect people's culture, people's customs, people's
Yeah.
tradition, because all of that is good when it doesn't impede progress. So it's a different thing if, we sit somebody walk in and they got on Muslim garb or whatever, I can't take an immediate offense to them thinking that we're going to be at odds, because really if we at a community meeting about what we're going to do to provide resources to our youth, that's the main thing, and I've learned to do that. I've learned that if there's a common goal and a common objective, it doesn't matter what a person has been raised in, as long as there's love in the room, as long as there's respect in the room, and as long as there's a common goal, we as a humankind can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Now, I like what you stated. Now, we have a common goal is to just impact the youth, and just because I know, even like this past meeting that we were attending this past Thursday with One America, there were different. There was a diverse group of individuals there. Like I said, some come in the Muslim, I mean, in the African attire, the dashiki, and some may look at this like, oh, now here we come with this kumbaya, bumbaya stuff. But in talking and conversing, we was all going in the same direction. We're trying to make
Exactly.
Jackson better. We're trying to make Central Mississippi better. And like I said, a lot of individuals they judge the book by its cover instead of really getting to the meat of it, looking at it, and understanding what it is before you make your opinion about it. Now I know, like I stated, no, we have a mutual friend with the NFL great Jimmy Smith, and
Mhm.
we were talking. He's like, Bernard, I want to hook you up with this guy. No, classmate, teammate. No, he's doing this, he's doing that. No, now I'm be honest with you with you, not being just like I said. Now when I first met you, you were dressing your dashiki with your beads and stuff on. I said, oh, so this gonna be interesting. So I'm finna hear some motherland stuff right now. Again, that's me making my own perception about it. But then just conversely, he's like, hold up, this guy, we going down the same road. Now again, he may just
I wear
know.
those because I like them.
And see, and that's your thing. Said that's if you feel comfortable. Because me, I feel comfortable in some wind pants and shorts and a t-shirt
Yeah.
or a jersey, whatever. And so you might look like. Now I know you start look at me. It's like, now what's this dude? This dude like you finna go play some basketball or something, trying to come me do stuff to the youth. Now hold up, now we look a little different, but then once we start conversing, this gentleman has the same passion that I has. No, we're trying to better our youth. And so again, I was that way, but like I said, first impression, making it and lasting impression. So I know when I see you now and know when we talk now, I said I know we finna get some stuff done because your passion and your motivation behind what you're trying to do. So I love that about you and your wife. I know when I see you, I'm gonna see your wife. Y'all again have the same on the same road, or trying to do the same thing as make a difference in the community and the youth.
Now, when you say that, we were taught, don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes
Yes,
we
correct.
forget these statements, these phrases. I grew up with Aesop fables and reading Nancy Drew mysteries and Pecos Bill and Babe the Big Blue Ox and Paul Bunyan and all those kind of books. Because an interesting thing about me growing up, I actually lived my first 12 years of life in Madison, Mississippi, and I attended Rosa Scott Middle School before I attended Powell Junior High my ninth grade year. So I graduated middle school twice. And though Jimmy and I were teammates, it's an interesting story that he told my wife and I for the first time. We knew each other. We were athletes, so of course we were around some of the same things. He was a football athlete. I was a basketball and track athlete, and we both attended the illustrious Jackson State University.
The I
And
love. I support you on that one.
the I love. And so he was football and I was track. We SWAC champions 1990, T5 side, track 5 side, T team, track team. Most of my teammates were from the islands. And so two stories is in this because first I was like, oh my God, because they're like, Foster boy, you the hurler, huh? And I'm like, oh boy. And it was so much fun, Bernard. It was so much fun and so much love on that hallway because the common goal was track. We had a love for track.
Yeah.
We worked out intensively. We didn't just practice for practice. We practiced in the morning. We practiced in the evening. Hey, I'm going for a run. You want to go? How far you running? 4 miles. Oh boy, And it made a camaraderie
Uh huh.
so strong to where I went back home for Christmas break, and my mom was like, "Why you sound like you African?" Because I literally picked up the accent. I say, "Mom, they from the Trinidad, Tobago, the Virgin Islands, the pleasure spots, the Bahamas Strip. They from all these different places, and these are my teammates." And so I think because I'm around them so much, I didn't picked up their lingo, their dialect. And so back to Jimmy. Jimmy tells me and my wife prior to me coming to Jackson back in 2021, we did a network for gold in Atlanta when Jackson State played in Atlanta. And I'm gonna give you the quick version. So we reached out to Jimmy. We wanted Jimmy to be involved, and I just reached out to him. So the first real conversation I had with Jimmy Smith is me calling him on Facebook. We knew each other, respected each other, spoke to each other, but didn't interact.
Yeah.
And Jimmy tells this story. He said, "Hey, Miss Foster, I'll be watching you on Facebook. Let me tell you something about your husband." And he don't even know this. I said, "Okay, here we go. What happened at Callaway that I'm embarrassed about?" I thought he's gonna tell this embarrassing story. And you fact check me, Bernard. You come back and let the people know that this is a true story. We in the high, we riding down the highway, I think coming to Atlanta. And Jimmy tells this story about some recruiters coming to see him at Jackson State. And he's kind of like all willy nilly, half cocked, feeling himself. And so he do a half workout. If you know Jimmy, this sounds like Jimmy. He does a half workout. He say he does catch a few passes, run a few routes, and he takes his helmet off. He takes a knee. Wipes the sweat. He say he looks over to see if the scouts are looking at him, and he's like, the scouts got these pads, and they all watching me run around the track because I'm out there doing my extra workout. He say, so the eyes weren't on him, the eyes was on me. He was like, wait a minute now, Foster kind of tall, like he got some good hands. Let me get up off my butt and get back out here and show these people what they came to see. And I was blown away. And he said, that's why he took my call. That's why he wanted to see what I was calling for, because I always had a work ethic. And Bernard, I'm segueing from that story to say that that's what we need with community advocacy. That's what we need with youth programs and mentorship programs and after school programs. We need a consistency and a work ethic to where these young people know if anything else is unstable in their life, they know that what we're providing to them is stable because we have a work ethic to where we're going to be consistent with them and keep our word. And so that was very interesting to me. And I've been very humbled by that statement that he felt like that my work ethic motivated him uh, to get up and work a little harder. And so that's what when I'm working with the kids, if I'm showing them something, if we out doing landscaping, I'm going to work just as hard as them and show them that this is not just something that I'm doing to keep them busy, but it's something that they can actually earn income from. And so, man, that blessed me to hear that from Jimmy.
Yeah, I believe so. Again, this is More on the Road with Bernard Moore III, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Nothing but more is what we're all about. We're talking with Benny Foster, our community advocate. Now, Benny. Now, I know, I said being an athlete. Like I said, speak with you. I said right now, currently, I'm at Hines Community College. in Utica. Now I know this is a hidden jewel that a lot of people really don't know about down here. Hines brought some youth down here to work out at a basketball camp. How important is being part of an athletic team, especially at a young age, to help develop young men and young women for the future?
It, mentorship saved my life. You're gonna hear me say that it's not just a pitch, it's not a corn phrase. It's mentorship literally saved my life through me being a student athlete. And I would love to come out and maybe even do some drills and some basic moves and different things with your forwards, man. I played forward and I learned a lot of procedures, man, that really like I don't know if you know this, but uh, my coach years ago taught me that the baseline was the sixth man on the court.
Yeah, we kind of teach that too. That the out of
Yep.
bound line is extra
You
man.
know, put a body on somebody when every time the ball shot, put a body on somebody. You know, some of that stuff I don't even see anymore in basketball because they got away from the basics. And so I'm a basic guy. And if there's a kid with any type of talent, man, I would love to work with them. My arena is basketball and track. I have done some football. But back to what did it do for me? Um, it gave me structure, Bernard. Listen, I'm class of 87. The crack epidemic and the gang epidemic infiltrated Jackson, Mississippi around this time.
Yeah.
Thank God that I was playing basketball with Darren Chancellor, Coleman White, Vondre Denson, Mike Jones, rest in peace, Ray Dixon, Daryl Lyons, Joseph Courtney, who went on to play in the NBA, Darren Chancellor, who's USM Hall of Fame now. We went to the state championship our senior year, and it was a goal that we would go to the state championship, and we reached that goal. We didn't win, but we went there. We played against Chris Jackson, and he changed his name now. He played with the Denver Nuggets at one point, but that boy was an explosive player, man. But the beautiful part about it was the journey, Bernard. You know what I'm saying? The journey of me having to go to practice, me being so tired, I didn't want to go to the neighborhood and act out or be in a gang. I didn't want to go stand on the corner because I got to go home and I got to do my homework. Because if I didn't do my homework, I wouldn't have the grades. If I didn't have my grades, I couldn't play basketball. Going to the classroom, not wanting to get in any trouble. Because if I got in some trouble, the coach would get on me. So that saved my life, man. That kept me from the drugs. That kept me from the gangs. That kept me from death. Being able to be a student athlete at Callaway High School and Jackson State University. You know, that structure is something that an athlete needs. And I tell people all the time, if you want to be a mentor, find something that youth love and involve yourself. It can be basketball, it can be track, it can be sewing, it can be hiking, it can be camping, it can be bowling. Create a team, create a day that you go out with them and give them some tips. And that's mentorship. And so that experience saved my life, man.
Now let me ask you this. Now, along with all the discipline and the structure, some environments of the youth, especially the youth of today, that environment, the environment that they're in, is not structured. They want to be a part of a team, and some of them try, but then once they get into something structured, they don't know how to handle it. As a coach and as a mentor and a father and advocate in the community, especially working with you, how do you handle that? When you're dealing with someone that they want to be a part of it, but once it comes to the structure and the discipline, that's kind of sometimes makes it used to turn away from it because they don't want that structure and that discipline.
You got to always remember as a coach that you got to keep the main ingredient of fun, keeping it fun, keeping it carefree. Yes, discipline. Yes, motivation. Yes, inspiration. Yes, run them lines if they mess up. Run them extra laps if they mess up. But you have to have that moment to where they see you smile, they see you laugh, they see you make a joke. You have to be human. You have to remember the human touch. A lot of people lose the human touch. You got to keep the human touch. Once you create that trust, rest in peace, Coach Tyree Macbeth. My God, he was like a father to me, the track coach, um, and as well as Martin Epps, Jackson
Yeah.
State University. You know, they were like father figures to me, man. And so I was able to go talk to them. You know, I was able to go share personal stuff with them. I just shared at a community meeting the other day where I was sitting down with a pastor and his staff, and they had some powerful testimonies of how they ended up with this pastor and in the vision of what that pastor has. And literally, man, I told them that even though I was an athlete and I was a leader at the school, I was probably one of the poorest student athletes there. And what I mean by poor is you've been an athlete enough to know that when we are taking up money for the shoes and for the jackets we gonna get or whatever, you know. And I was always the one that literally got my money in, if not last, next to last. I was the one that had to wait and pay in installments, and it's because when I moved to Jackson, we had a terrible house fire where our house burned to the ground, and so we started over. And so when we came to Jackson Sunset Drive, I literally, man, was dealing with three sets of clothes. My last year in Madison before we moved, I was dealing with three pair of pants, three shirts, and I changed them on Thursday and Friday, switched them up from what I wore on Monday and Tuesday. And
Now, and,
so I was dealing with self esteem. I was dealing with hurt. My mom and dad had got a divorce. And when I say basketball and track did it for me, I needed that. So because my coaches were carefree, because my coaches were disciplined and structured, because they was a matter of fact about everything that they did, and they took time to explain why certain things were important, I ran to that structure. Now I did see some people run from that structure. I don't know what their story was, but my story was this is an arc of safety for me. This makes me feel like I'm a part of something. And real quickly, being the only boy out of three girls, I gravitated to that team, basketball and track. I gravitated to that time to be around some brothers. And that's what happens when you really a part of a real good team and a real good coach. You become like brothers and sisters if you know, females. And it was powerful, man. So that structure, I ran to it. So I can't really speak on why someone would run from it, you know. And I've always tried to remember those things that made me gel and made me mesh and made me synergize with my coaches and my teammates. And I try to provide that same thing whenever I'm coaching and being a part of youth programs.
now with that, now I know you said like, especially though you're the only male of three sisters. How important is that support that you can build the relationship with your teammates, not only on the playing field or on the track or on the court, as well as in life? Because I know growing up, even when I was in high school, a lot of that's majority of that I hung around with my teammates, and we formed a bond. I saw the bond there because it carried on from the field to the classroom. We challenged each other, especially the guys in my class. We challenged each other in everything that we did, whether it was some foolishness though, but it's still we were still a bond. How important is it for a teammate to definitely bond to be a family?
Let me go back a little bit and make an acknowledgement. So I was raised with three sisters, my mom, and I was the only boy. But I have two brothers in my dad's uh, second marriage, and then I have a stepsister from my bonus dad that had married my
Okay.
mom. We lost him to cancer in 2019. So, but I was being raised at that point around
Uh huh.
three young ladies. So, it's more than important for a team to synergize. It is more than important that that chemistry develops and grows and cultivates. You need agitators. You need motivators. Like we literally came up with this song our senior year. And so I do believe, and you can ask my any of my teammates. I feel like I was one of those motivational people. Whether I was on the court and you did something good, I'm up in your face like, "Good shot, bro, good shot." You know what I'm saying? And then on the bench, I was the same. On the bench, I was the same way. It wasn't about whether I was in the game. You know, we came up with all these chants and all these different things. We called the Sky Force our senior year. We got jackets. I was part of all of that core that was creative and motivative, so we could gel and mesh and have a backbone of sort and be able to bounce off of each other. So that's extremely important for a team to even get together outside of the court, outside of practice. You know, to just maybe if it's just to go out and get. I can remember we having a long practice and we would hit the McDonald's on Hanging Moss and Northside. Shakes, fries, and apple pies. You know what I'm saying? And we would sit there and we would talk. We would talk. You know, and so I think that synergy, Bernard, is so much more important than you drilling over and over and over the kids on the court. I think you have to develop the friendship and the relationship. So when they on the court, they will synergize more and they will be more involved with the interaction and engagement that is needed on the court because of some of the things you do off the court.
Again, this is a More on the Road with Bernard Moore the third, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Nothing but more is what we're all about. I say again, we're here live at the JD Board Gymnasium on the campus of Hines Community College in Utica, Mississippi. Man, this is a beautiful campus. I know, Benny, that you talked about the piece of land that you guys work with. Actually, probably not too far from this area. Man,
It's not.
some people look at the country as like, man, no, it's out in the middle. Yes, it is out in the middle of nowhere, but I just like the peace and the comfort and the quietness and the subtleness of it. Especially someone just want to relax and as you can just look and walk through the trees and hopefully you don't get attacked by any live animals and stuff though. But just take a walk through the woods and stuff, man. It is nice and peaceful. But if being from the city and you deal with the environment. You got to deal with the different elements of rundown buildings, the street pavement. Now, I know that the town and country water is not the best. It's coming straight from a well, some of it. But then, though, being from the city, you see all the glamorous lights and stuff, but the busybody. What is something that we can do in the city now? I'm speaking of Jackson. What is something that we can do in the city of Jackson to kind of bring that town and tradition, country, the peacefulness back to the city where it's busy, is a whole lot of stuff going on.
One of the things that we are actively doing, we're taking youth out to the farms. Rock 22 Farms, Mr. James Griffin, he's a concrete guy, one of the largest concrete guys in Mississippi. Very mild mannered, uh, generous person who has allowed us to utilize his space. And he's actually donated 5 acres of land to us as well out in Utica to just take youth out. We will have two youth groups coming out Wednesday and Thursday of this week, a primary group and a preteen group. And they're gonna come out and they're gonna fish and they're gonna ride the horse and they're gonna have a farm tour and pet the sheep, the goats, and hike. And um, we actually feed them and do a scavenger hunt and things of that nature. And that's powerful. In addition to that, Lisa Foster and I have acquired a couple of plots of land inside the city, and we plan on creating a urban garden. And we want to have the ability for people to come to that garden and they can pray and meditate. They can walk through the garden. We plan on having a trail through the garden. That's part of what we're looking to design. And so for those that can't come out, we want to bring that peace to them, and we want to make this a safe place for people to come out with their kids and harvest from the garden as well as come out and help us sow. in the garden, you know, and then we want them to have a sense of this is their garden in that area. And so I think this can be duplicated. You know, I, I I experienced one over by my mom near Broadmoor. You know, it's a community garden there, and Lisa and I have been there, and we met the people who put it there, and they're very great as far as community advocacy. You know, they put it there for the people. And my mom knew about it before I knew about it because she said, "No, I'm going around to the garden." I said, "What garden?" And so that gardening is something. Agriculture is pretty big now. It's kind of taking a center stage, and more people are doing it. And then even in our talks with the Parks and Rec, Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks, they want more youth involved at their parks, more youth camping, more youth fishing, more youth hunting, because it's an experience. So I think if more people like you and I and the people watching, if we would just realize that, hey man, there's so much we can do with it. Stop saying I don't know what to do with the kids. There's so much we can do. So I think that peace and quiet is important. And just like you taking time out of your busy Saturday and bringing some youth out there so they can see. Sometimes you may see some of those youth. I don't know if they riding with you or they met you out there. But if you brought them out there, you would notice a youth just daydreaming out the window while you driving. You know,
Yeah.
and that's them dreaming. That's them thinking about something other than their dilemma or their situation. So I think it's hugely important that we allow them to enjoy nature.
Now let me ask you. Now I know that speaking of agriculture, now I'm. This is just no, just looking at history. A lot of our HBCUs started off as agriculture schools, and then as they continue to grow, some kind of, you can say, departed from it, and some are still are part of it. Now I'm just looking at Alcorn State University because they start off as, from my understanding, Alcorn they were A&M school, Alabama A&M, Prairie View A&M. I can't. It's another other few other small HBCU school. They start off at agriculture school. How important is it teaching the youth of this generation how much agriculture helped played a part in history for your parents, for your grandparents, for your great great grandparents, and to have some of the things that you have today. But you can look at a lot of businesses, corporate America has kind of trying to pull us out of that agriculture arena because they still want to build the big buildings and have the high tech technology building. And that's what the youth of this generation, that's what they're turning to. But now, you like said, say some are, they, you, a lot of the counts like, what can I do? Stick them out there in the middle of nowhere. Help them be creative. I was listening to a radio station. I want to say it was either K Love or Air One, and they was talking about some of their youth company and said, "I'm bored." And then sometimes as a parent, you want to help them be, you want to help them do something. Well, hey, come on, let's go do this, instead of allowing them to be creative. Because if they constantly say that they're bored, and you come up with the idea, guess what? You're taking away from their imagination, creativity, showing them how they can create things. So I think agriculture definitely need to play a part in with youth for today. Okay. Well, like Mr. Bennett done took a turn somewhere. But I stated it's very important to get our youth involved in what's going on because it'll help them to extend their imagination. Because if you constantly creating things for our youth, what is almost saying that you're crutching them instead of allowing them to grow up themselves. So it is very important to allow the youth to use their imagination, help them to be creative. But you have plenty of resources out here in nature. Now, back with the camping, how important is for the youth to be a part of nature instead of
Man,
sitting inside the house?
fishtails camping and fishing. Fishtails, Fishtales. It is something that we have done periodically throughout the years, but now that we're back in Jackson, it has kind of moved to the forefront of some of our signature programming. Um, like we do a boot camp, we do a toolbox trading skills with agriculture. Uh, included with that piece. And we do this fish tails camping and fishing, which our last experience, we had about 22 kids come out with some parents and some chaperones, man, some leadership coaches of our life. We literally showed them how to pitch the tent. Uh, we actually fished, caught the fish, cleaned the fish. They were able to tour the farm. We did a campfire. We did s'mores, and some of the conversations were powerful and wonderful. A lot of you said they learned about patience. They learned about gardening because we went and actually harvest some vegetables from the garden that went with our meal. And it was just powerful, man. So it is again extremely important. It is an important thing to know how to fish, to know how to camp, to know how to garden. Those are things that are, and a lot of people say in a way that they think we're gonna need it for some type of world uh, chaos or something. But I think you just need to know it as a general human being. You should know that the earth produces fruit, some of the
Yeah.
best stuff that you can put in your body. That you can literally go and take a fishing pole and catch a fish, instead of going to the market. And it actually, when you save money, you made money. That's what I say
Yeah.
all the time. You save money, you made money.
Yeah.
So even when you're budgeting, and even when you're living life and you're taking care of your family, and it's something about being able to do that, man. It's something about being able to tell my wife, Lisa, I'm going fishing. I come back, I clean the fish, and she goes to the garden and she plucks things from the garden, and there we have a salad and some fish, and it's just something about it. I can't even explain it. And I think every person should experience that, especially our young people, because it just kind of like adds a balance to life to me. The things that I've learned, like I grew up on a garden and didn't really understand how powerful it was to know the things that I'm now utilizing to show kids that there's a different way. So I
Yeah.
I, I I feel that's extremely important.
All right. Let's again. We're just talking with Benny Foster about things of life. Now, Benny, and especially with I know we was talking about meditation, therapy. How important is gardening and fishing and just being part of nature, meditation, peer, or therapy?
Man, it brings balance. I think part of I want to choose this word carefully. Part of our challenges in modern day society is that a lot of people are operating out of an emotional rant. I think that they have made a long term decision from a short term emotion. When I go to a youth prison and I see 12, 13-year olds locked up, I see a bunch of bad decisions. I see low self esteem. I see depression. I see anger. I see hurt. I see pain created that situation, made that child react or do what they did. When I go to adult prison, I see a bunch of bad decisions. I see some generational turmoil, some hurt, some pain, some things that have not been addressed. And so meditation helps you pour that out. Meditation helps you go within yourself and allow God to kind of go around and kind of like pluck some things out and bring some things to your attention and have you to address them while they kind of like waiting on something to be triggered, and then they come out a different way, if I'm making sense.
Yes.
If you don't address these things while meditating, while praying, while alone in your quiet place, your space, and meditation is simple. We use this message called SBRS, and it's just stretch, breathe, relax, and silence. Stretch, breathe, relax, and silence. And ironically, we're working on our another book called New You, and we talk about that in the New You book. You can't build on broken pieces. You have to go in and kind of let some things heal and go back and deprogram yourself and then reprogram yourself. We're kind of like computers, Bernard. You can
Yeah.
put a keyword in a search engine and it'll pull up all this stuff. 112 pages got pulled up because you put in you put in marshmallows. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so in life, we get triggered by things that are reminding us of our trauma. And if we haven't dealt with that, we're going to react
Yeah.
in an emotional way and do things and say things that sometimes you can't take back. And you can't,
Yeah.
you don't expect people to forgive you for. So meditation to me, um, as a person, as a mentorship coach, as an educator, as a husband, father, brother, son, meditation has helped me be better in all of those aspects, all of those titles, all of those positions that I play in the lives of the people that I love. It has caused me to really, really, truly deal with some things on the inside of me. So when I am presented with that trigger, I don't react from a place of emotion, but I react from a place of peace and understanding that, hey, you know, I can't allow this to make me act out of character.
All right. Now with that, some people, everybody wants peace. I know everybody doesn't like want chaos all the time, but you do have some that love drama and chaos. And when not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, a lot of us when we hear meditation, they automatically turn on think it's the spiritual realm when they hear meditation. Meditation is just more based off just a relaxation of the body. Now, if you want to add some spiritual case to it, yes, you can converse and relax in the presence of God and the Holy Spirit. But how can you educate those individuals? Again, they hear about meditation, but the first automatically they think it's more or spiritual wise, mean dealing
The,
with religion.
the biggest way I can put this, and the easiest way I can put this is, it's kind of like recalibrating. So, your phone, everybody has a phone to where if you don't download the update or if you have too much on your phone start acting funky. And so
Yeah,
what you have to do is you have to turn your phone off and turn it back on. Meditation brings a silence to everything because most of us, when we the time we wake up, voices are in our head. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta check my email, I'm gonna do this. And sometimes you may say, I'm gonna brush my teeth first. Next thing you know, you're in the kitchen cooking first, and it's so much going on because time you come back conscious, because sleep is like a shallow form of death. You literally like have gone into a sleeping slumber to where you don't know what's going on. That's why the people can put the shaving cream on your hand and tickle your nose and you hit your nose,
and
you got shaving cream everywhere, right? And so once we now realize that meditation allows you to be between awoke and sleep, you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because those are two different realms. Those are two different consciousness. Those are two different awareness. There's two levels of awareness. While you sleep, you're not aware of things that are happening with your physical body, but when you're awoke, you're aware of things that are happening with your physical body. So it's kind of like you are now numbing yourself. It's like a restart on a computer. You actually take a moment, you stretch, you breathe, not regularly, because right now you've been breathing this whole podcast. But if you were to stop breathing, you would know. But if you were
yes,
to have shortness of breath, you would know. So when you
yes,
intentionally change that breathing pattern, you're recalibrating. When you stretch your body, you allowing things that may have little kinks in them to get adjusted so it's
yeah.
not uncomfortable as you now stretch, breathe, and now you relax. You're not listening for anything. You're not thinking about the phone bill. You're not thinking about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom and them, your dad and them. You're not thinking about you just sitting and you're being. And it's kind of like, again, you being rebooted. And that's how meditation works.
Yeah, and like you said, I know, like I said, rebooting. Cause when, like I said, as a minister, and I stood before my congregation sometime about preaching. A lot of us, my pastors know he can harp on this for quite some time. A lot of us has stepped away from the church. Don't want to be back into the church building because of what reason? I'm not going to answer because it's a whole list of reasons why a lot of people are not back into the church. And I continue to encourage them, just like everybody has a smartphone. Now you may still have some has an old analog phones, but they use them because they said they work tremendously good, and which some of them do. Just like you stated, or you updated, come back to the church building to update your software. And what I mean by update your software, get that word put back in you, because we can read forever and ever and ever, and which we encourage you to do. But then sometimes, once you hear someone talking and you're seeking an answer or you're seeking guidance, God can speak to that particular individual that's who's leading a sermon or who's giving devotion or who's providing words of encouragement, that answer to the question or that guidance that you need. So I continue to advise everybody to get back into a church building. I'm not going to sit and tell you what religious belief you need to go into: Baptist, Buddhism, Hindu, Methodist, Pentecostal, none of that. But it's just still good to put yourself back into the church building, so that, like I said, so that you can get your updates and so that you can reboot yourself, because we all need, like I said, we all need to reset. So we all need to take a step back and meditate. But like I said, it is very important for us to do is to meditate, to restart ourselves, because sometimes we can take on a lot.
Take on a lot and be we can be leading while bleeding, as Bishop Jake said years ago in one of his messages. Leading while bleeding. You're smiling, you're shaking hands, you're kissing babies, but on the inside you're utterly destroyed.
Now,
And so
now,
you have to take time out.
yeah. Again, this is More on the Road with Bernard Moore the third, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Again, we're here live at JD Board Coliseum here on the beautiful campus of Hines Community College in Utica, Mississippi. Now, some look at Utica as a town or country. It is peaceful. Now, I told the coaches sometimes I don't like making this drive because, like you stated, when you're driving, you can't really enjoy the scenery because you want to keep your eyes focused on the road, because you may have Bambi or Rudolph run across the street, and you want to make sure that you're focused on that. Now, making the drive, it's a headache sometimes to me personally, because, like I said, it's just driving you in the middle of nowhere. You're looking at trees, you're looking at roads. You got to keep your head on swivel. But as a passenger, like I said, it is peaceful. Like I said, you can just look out the windows and see the scenery, especially sometimes with the cloud and the trees and the clouds behind the tree. It is a nice scenery. Like driving down here today, it was like it was about to rain. You have some gray and white clouds right now, but just sitting out here is peaceful. It is peace. And so I understand why we're so busybody. We got to have our phones and stuff, all this technology stuff. Sometimes sit that stuff down and just enjoy God's nature, God's beauty, what God created, because it is
Exactly.
peaceful. So now I'm gonna have to hold you up on that offer of definitely coming out to the farm, because
Yes, sir.
sometimes definitely just want to get away to meditate and reboot. Because if you're in the city, I love my city, I love Jackson, but sometimes you just need to take a step back and just sit in peace, and so how that we can get ready to allow those. Before I make this statement, I'm gonna ask you this question: when you're out there on that farm or in the open land, are those some of the times you come up with your best ideas?
Yes. And additionally, when I'm walking, um, sometimes if I'm just sitting with no TV, no radio, no phone in my hand, and a lot of times, uh, just noticing the time, noticing an individual, something that they say. Like literally, you haven't been thinking something. You go to the store, and someone on the next aisle say exactly what you was thinking about. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Yeah.
then you listening to a podcast or something later, and somebody else says it, so that you know that's the spirit of God trying to bring that to your attention. You know, to pay a little bit more attention to that phrase, that word, that situation. And so a lot of my great ideas come while I'm fishing, while I'm walking. Um, another way that a lot of great ideas come is when I'm speaking with like-minded people. Lisa and I have some wonderful conversations to where we are literally be in the middle of working because we're business consultants. Um, that's how we pay the bills, and that's how we provide some of the youth program that we provide. besides our partners and great people that do assist and support and donate when they do, we literally will stop in the middle of a project and just have this courageous conversation, you know, about the smallest things that turn into the biggest revelation. Uh, like the other day, I asked her to join me with a live broadcast on Facebook, and she went into this: "The joy of the Lord is my strength." And I say, it's hard to be mad when you got joy. You know, it's hard to be depressed when you got joy. It's hard to be upset when you got joy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's a strength. So this happiness, this smile, you know what I'm saying? It's a strength to you when you're feeling weak, when you're feeling down. And so now it's like I laugh. I laugh when I see situations. I laugh when I see circumstances that may not be the best that they can be, because I realize that joy is my strength. And so some of the biggest revelations to me come from, yes, being on the farm, yes, fishing, hiking. I used to ride bikes. I used to run a lot, of course, practicing jogging. A lot of those things come when you're not focusing on what could go wrong, or what you got to do. When you really just present in what you're doing, a lot of times those ideas just come to the forefront.
Yeah, and Ref said now some are successful business that came from a small to be this great project. A lot of them would tell you that they were just sitting down, just meditating and thinking, and this idea happened, and they shared it, and now it's become this big thing.
Hmm.
How important, like you stated, it is for youth. Everybody, they can sit and say that they don't want to make money. Now everybody can sit and say they want all the money in the world. They want to make a lot of money. How is it important for youth, especially at the early teenage, to know what they want to do, to put themselves around individuals to help them grow, so they can get to a point where they want in life?
I think youth just want to be supported. Um, we were told, go to school, make good grades, get a scholarship, go to college, get married, have a kid, get a good job, everything will be okay. That was one of the biggest lies they ever told us. And a lot of people are working now in areas that are not associated with the first degree they got, because they were forced to live out someone else's expectation for their
Uh-huh.
life. And now we have trades. We've been had trades. We had it back when we took shop, and we had home
Yeah.
economics, and we had Boy
Yeah.
Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts. We had Parks and Rec. A lot of things that we don't have access to, and I learned a lot from those organizations. And so now we have the ability for a kid to take a paintbrush and become a painter, or to learn about plumbing, or to become a carpenter, or even a door installation, window installation, working with a company like Lowe's or some other company where have, you have the ability to make $300-400 a day. You have the ability to make so much more money even without a degree. And I'm not against school. I'm not against college, because they have changed and shaped and mold my life. But I'm saying everybody's
Yeah.
not cut out for school. There's a saying: you cannot judge the ability of a fish to swim to its inability to climb a tree. And we trying to tell a lot of these kids they got to climb a tree, and we need to just let them be a fish. And when we find out
Yes.
that they are a fish, we support them in being a fish. And I think that's that disconnect that we have right now. A lot of us know that it's been hard for us trying to do it other people's way, but yet even with our children, we try to make them do the same thing that was done to us. And I think we have to kind of like take a step back sometime and say, what is it that you really want to do? And then we get the things that they need to support them. And if they fail, so be it. At least they know that you love them enough to support them, you know? And so being able to now have that alternative education, even a junior college, It's best for some children to come there even before they even try to attend a 4 year college. And then some people have been very.
Yeah.
My sister went to a junior college and has been a dental assistant and worked for the same company up until this past year to when the company closed down. And she's lived a successful life as a dental assistant. And so she didn't have to go to a JSU or Alcorn or
Now,
USM or Clemson or you feel what I'm saying?
yeah. Now, let me ask you this. How important is it? I mean, how difficult sometimes as, not saying a generation curse, but a generation tradition that was a teacher. My mom was an educator. So it's in line for me to be an educator. My dad, my great grandfather, he was so it's a I need to be an entrepreneur. My great grandfather was law enforcement. So you see, the generation is that important for your children to do, especially generation of today, or is it like stated, or is better for them to try to figure out what bit them? Because my mom was in housekeeping, dad was in construction. My great, I mean not my great granddad, my granddad, which was my, he worked up in Michigan, with the factory and stuff. How important is that, or is that important for our youth today to be those traditional genetic to jobs?
As long as it's not forced. As long as it's not forced, I think that you are on the road to a great opportunity for your young person. It's good to know that they can fall back on it. Like I know
Uh huh.
people that own land and businesses and their youth are not involved and the parent really want to pass it to them. I think that if you really have a good relationship with your child and your child good relationship with you, there should be some type of meeting point of where even if you don't want to take on the family business, you can at least learn enough
Yeah.
about the family business for if someone is appointed that the family business is in good hands. I think it should be a medium and a balance there. But as long as it's not forced, as long as you're not forcing it upon a child and trying to make a child do this and make them feel guilty because they want to chase their dream and their opportunity, one of the longest things to live with is regret.
I don't know. Well, Mr. Foster, man, it's about time for go ahead and look at some basketball now. I want to talk about the stuff that we have going on that's coming up soon. Now I know that we spoke about once before, um, about what we're definitely doing with the old school Hoop Fest. Now I'm calling back my former scholar athletes from Bailey, from Forest Hill, from Lanier, Provine, Callaway, that school over there on 601 Beasley Road, Jim Hill, Murrah, and Wingfield to come on out and join us at our annual Old School Hoop Fest Fit basketball game. The proceeds from this game will benefit Jackson Public School athletics. There's no admission charge to the event, but we're just asking for donations. Come on out and fellowship and support. Because Benny already said that he's gonna come on to the court. Now I want to see does he still have it. I know I'm gonna be out there hooping, representing Forest Hill. Benny says he's gonna come out there represent those charges. So I'm gonna see is he still gonna do it. Come on out and join July the 27th at Lanier High School. Tip off for the females is at 5 p.m. Again, there's no admission, but we are seeking donation. Come on out, have fun, and fellowship. It's a free event. It's a family fun event. So bring the kids, bring the family out. Come on, let's have some fun. Also, next coming up is Holy Patrol Hoops, Unity of Law and Religion on the court. There's a lot going on around in Jackson, and when something happens, the main individuals that they're going to call the law, and then they're gonna call on the religious to continue to pray for them. So we finna mesh and bring them together on the court. I have four professional teams that are gonna play in this game. So local professional teams, a males team and a female team. So come on now, August the 4th at Hillcrest Christian School, 4060 South Southwood Road. Admission is $10 for the game. Yes, it is on a Sunday, 3 p.m. So once you get through praising the Lord, come on now and let's shoot some hoops. I also want to give thanks to my guys over at Talking Sports Live. Join us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Full Moon Barbecue in Madison, Mississippi. Got some exciting news about it, so come on, join in and tune in about the assignment of what we're going to do with Talking Sports Live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Full Moon Barbecue in Madison, Mississippi. I also want to give a shout out thanks to Full Moon, 1935 Main Street in Madison, Mississippi, for their support of the events, as well as Talking Sports Live, as well as more on the road. Contact their catering 601-466-7713 and let them know that you heard it on More on the Road, and they'll probably will give you a discount, I think. But don't let them know that you heard it here on More on the Road, and they will probably help you out with your bill or whatever. But definitely stay tuned to what's going on with my friends at Full Moon Barbecue, 1935 Main Street in Madison, Mississippi. So again, I thank you guys for joining us here on More on the Road. Now let me get back to my friend Benny. Looks like he probably done kind of dropped off. No, he's still here with me.
I'm still here, brother.
So yeah, I know you look like you got to do some chores right now. What's going on? But Mr. Foster, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we get out here? Like I said, I'm finna go enjoy some basketball right now. Sit here and spend some time with the youth, enjoy some basketball. I know that we got a lot that's going to take place coming up. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Mr. Foster?
Yes, I know on August 3rd, the Flores Bluff Park, we have a back to school 9 to 12 a.m. A lot of community partners coming together, and we're going to provide some book bags with some goodies in them, and we're going to have some activities and games for the youth at the Flores Bluff Park, August 3rd, 9 to 12. Please spread the word.
Yeah, like I said, we talked about that at an event this past week. There's a lot that's going to take place in Jackson. I definitely would advise you guys, to get involved. I know you can reach Benny on social media, Benny Foster. Look him up. I know he's all. I can say this: go to a community event, you'll probably find him somewhere in Jackson. So if you want to find them, you can look them up on social media or go to a community event where they're making a difference, especially with our youth. You will find him. Or like I said, you can look up myself on social media, log on to my website, all that good information to follow us and see what's next for us. But Jackson, I would say get ready, because I know that there's some great impacts that's about to take place, that there's some difference finna be made. So Mr. Foster, I really appreciate your time and what you're doing. You know that anytime that I can be a helpful hand, you know how to reach me. I'm there, that we can definitely help make a difference with these youth. But again, Mr. Foster, I really do appreciate your time. Tell your wife I said hello, and let's go ahead and get this work done.
Salute, man. Bless, respect. We appreciate you and your wife and all the work you do and all the organizations you're connected with. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember we're one family, stronger together. The more we unite, the more we will see the kingdom of God here in the earth. Thank you, Brother Bernard, for this opportunity, man. Much love.
Man, same to you as well, man. Salute to you as well, man, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
So again, that was Mr. Foster, man. Like I said, we've encountered each other a lot. We done came across each other's paths a lot through a mutual friend, my friend Jimmy Smith. But it's about that time for us to get out of here now. Stay and go ahead and watch some basketball. I get ready to join the youth on this court. Much love to you guys. Again, remember to stay safe, enjoy, be helpful, help somebody out. If you find a good friend, go out and just do what is right for namesake, for whatever sake, just do what is right. I can't stress this enough, man. No, just love each other, respect each other, go out and have fun, because we're going in a different direction at times. But let's all go in a one direction to make us better. And what I mean by us, I'm talking about us in this world, not just us in the city, not just us in the state, not just us in the country, us in the world. Much love to you guys. One plus one equals deuces.